Hey, just want to do a quick plug before the show begins. I'm hosting an event here in Evansville on Sunday, December the 18th. It's called Wally Opus Presents 2022. It's a record label showcase featuring performances by The Strangers, Atlas of the Dogs, Swamp Eyes, and Panama Papers. You can find more information on wallyopus.com. Tickets are on sale now. Also, if you didn't see on my Instagram, I officially changed the name of this podcast from Mining in the Foothills to simply the Wally Opus Podcast with Wes Luttrell. Nothing else is going to change other than the branding and the intro bit where I welcome miners because, it's just kind of weird to welcome miners. It was like a marketing thing I was trying, but I've given up. I don't want to do it anymore. So switching to the Wally Opus Podcast, nothing will change in terms of where you can find it, where you can listen to it. Everything remains the same. But this is the last episode where I do the introduction featuring Mining in the Foothills. From now on, this is the Wally Opus Podcast. All right. Hello, miners, and welcome to the 15th episode of Mining in the Foothills, where I am on the search for dialectic gold with doers from around the Midwest. I'm Wes from Wally Opus, and my guest today is Jorren Royce Locher, owner and operator of JRL, the R, just Royce, Local, one of Southern Indiana's top multimedia companies specializing in video production, commercial photography, and audio-video podcast creation. Located right here in Evansville, Indiana, Jorren and his team have been servicing the tri-state area since late 2019, working with such local brands as JP Marine, Evansville Rescue Mission, Mr. Fence, the Evansville Fire Department, Edge AutoSports, and Visit Evansville, to name just a few. For the past several years, Jorren has hosted JRL's Local Business Takeover, an effort to show off local businesses and to promote experiences around Southern Indiana. Jorren is also a member of 100 Guys Who Care, a fundraising initiative that gives away $10,000 per quarter to nonprofit organizations around the tri-state. The man behind the camera is based right here in Evansville, Indiana, where he lives with his little family, who just so happens to be friends with my little family. So, Jorren, thank you for doing this, man.
Not a problem, man. That was beautiful. That was a lot better than I could have done.
I've been working on that. I bring it up every damn podcast. I'm like, that's like a thing that I do now.
I like it.
I stole it. Let's see. I think I stole it from Jordan Peterson. You know who I'm talking about?
Absolutely, I know who Jordan Peterson is.
But it's like a combination of like Jordan Peterson's bio, sort of interview style, with like Joe Rogan's just free, like let it go where it goes type conversation. Also with some like How I Built This. Have you ever listened to that with Guy Raz?
No.
It's a podcast about company building. So it's sort of like that, interview based.
That's cool.
It's kind of where I got the idea.
I like company building.
Yeah, I'll send you the podcast.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
So let's jump right in. For those who have not heard of you, give me a quick, and I'm actually interested because I've talked to you a lot about your business, but not much about your background or your life history or how you got to this business. So fill us in on your history and then when you first picked up a camera.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of a weird situation and kind of how it all happened. I didn't have a passion for photography or filmmaking or video by any means. It was just a means of an outlet for me. I was actually working for a small pizza business, and
I remember that.
Yeah. And I was working at that pizza business for a long time, and I loved every second of it. And the more I actually left this pizza business to go bartend.
Okay.
So I was bartending at a casino, and my whole intention was to generate enough money to where I can move to Nashville.
Okay.
From the casino work.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what actually ended up happening was I just spent a bunch of money on a bunch of stuff that was I felt necessary. So I was buying kayaks and archery bows and you name it, I spent money on it. So I never actually saved up the money that I needed, right?
Yep.
So I had to end up, I knew that I didn't want to work at the casino anymore. And I still wanted to go to Nashville. So I stopped working at the casino and went back to the pizza company.
Okay.
And during this time, social media was just kind of flourishing. This is obviously pre-COVID, and and I saw video was just getting so popular. So literally, my involvement with like media and photography and stuff was born from this idea that I thought I could grow some serious business or gain some serious traction in this business through video. I was like, hey, let's make a YouTube for this company, and let's do some things. So
was that your first move? Was
Yes.
make a YouTube channel?
Yep.
Okay, sweet.
I made the YouTube channel for the company.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then we just kind of made a couple silly videos, but all still, revolving around pizza, because it didn't make sense for me to sell pizza in the video. Like, include pizza, but don't sell pizza. People like pizza. You don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
Just introduce them to you, make people feel comfortable. So that's kind of how my whole start for video kind of became. And
were you doing like behind the scenes stuff with them, with the crew?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we also
Or
did a skit. One of the very first ones was a skit.
Okay.
So my first video was made on a little GoPro Hero 3.
Uh-huh.
And I loved it. It was pretty cool. And then my second video was made on an Osmo, which is the gimbals. You ever see people have the little... It's one of those, except it's pretty much like a GoPro on it.
Okay.
Not like a real deal camera.
Okay.
And then I went into debt to buy a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of whenever everything happened. So I ended up leaving the pizza company just because things didn't work out. It wasn't aligning with the time off that I wanted, and, just a lot of different factors. It just didn't work out. So here I am with a camera, a bunch of debt, and no money to go to Nashville. So that's whenever I decided to start working at a sign company that my brother worked at. And the reason I started working at a sign company is because they gave me a lot of freedom. I could come in whenever I wanted. I could leave whenever I wanted, essentially.
As long as you got your shit done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what happened was I was working every day from 3 to 4 a.m. till noon. It didn't start off like that. I obviously started working full time for a while until I created JRL. And then after JRL was created, I still didn't have any clients, and I was doing all this work for free. But I was leaving work at noon after being up since 3 a.m. and then doing my JRL stuff until 5.
Gotcha.
So I was cramming in as much as I could in a day, and you could absolutely tell because I was falling asleep everywhere. So that's kind of how things started. And eventually, I gained enough clients to where I could stop working at the sign company. And it's just been this ever-evolving thing ever since. And I met Jake. I met Jake all during this time when I was working at Huss Signs. And,
And Jake is
my right-hand man.
Right-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sweet. Still with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Damn, that's awesome, dude. I didn't realize. So I did know, so I was actually part of one of the, if you remember that, I think it was the canoe.
Cave Country Canoes.
Cave Country Canoes. Yeah, we went canoeing and you did a video that day. But, so when you first started out, that is what you were doing. Did it all start with local business takeovers? And then or was it not called that then? Or?
Well, I actually had this idea. So obviously, I'm working all these hours and staying up super late and and waking up super early. I was getting exhausted. So I was trying to find a way that I could generate my own type of marketing material, but also involve people at the same time, to where maybe I could move or increase my production to where I could gain clients a little bit faster, right? So I came up with this idea. I've already had been creating things and making things for people, but it just wasn't paying enough to where I could quit my job.
Yeah.
So I came up with this idea that I wanted to make a video about the homeless crisis in Evansville.
Okay.
And this is pre-COVID. Homelessness this is actually...
When was this? Like 2019? Or?
December of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And, there was this whole homeless crisis, and, we saw in Evansville particularly, there was a lot of people that you would see panhandling that you would see all over the city, but they would just like move spots, and it was like, what's kind of going on here, So what ended up happening was I wanted to do a video on it. So I actually ended up going to Salvation Army because I knew that they, fed homeless people. And then I did a little bit of a story there with a camera. And then I went to the Evansville Rescue Mission because they said, hey, if you want to learn more about the homeless population, you should definitely go to Evansville Rescue Mission.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of how my relationship with Salvation Army and the Evansville Rescue Mission kind of flourished was, I had this massive interest in what was happening in our community. And I involved other people and told a story. So that's kind of how that developed into something. I was like, I want to do more of these. And I know, and this is right whenever COVID hit. And I was like, local business is really struggling. So how can I stay involved, market myself, and then also show people that this content can change your business? So it just kind of all came together. It started off with me just doing something for the community and to tell a story. And then it evolved into, hey, I get to tell a story and I get to possibly make a living for myself and Jake at the same time.
That's so interesting. It's like, it's almost like you were doing like journalism in the beginning, which I guess you kind of still, I don't know if it's the same now, but you get in, you like learn their story, you try to pull this together, pull this out and present it, through video, through media. But that is something that I was thinking about this a lot last night. Well, first of all, it's in your damn name, JRL Local. Like it's like the local part of your name is the business. And like I know that you've done work for clients outside of the area, but it's just
still local businesses though.
Oh, okay.
It's not big corporate stuff. I mean, we've definitely done some big corporate stuff, but it's mostly local people, local things, advertising to the local community.
Yeah, and like that's something I've noticed is like it's not just like a thing that you say, it's something that you actually do. And if you watch your local business takeovers, you're giving local businesses a platform to share their story in a quality manner, and like you're experiencing it. It's like kind of like I haven't watched them in a while, but I know like when I used to like watch some of them, they're like vlog meets interview meets like advertising kind of, and it was entertaining. You like cut it together really nicely, and it's really entertaining. But I just think it's interesting that like through your interest in the community, you start meeting people and you discover like a service that you can provide them through video content, But it's like you really are a part of the community. Like I feel like knowing you for a couple of years, and like I'm following your social media stuff, I'm like, God, you fucking know everybody, dude. You know everybody in Evansville, because I feel like you really are part of the local scene. It's not bullshit, You're not just saying that. It's like you actually are, And you're a local business yourself, supporting other local businesses.
And that goes back to the whole, I hate talking about politics, and I hate talking about, this side, that side, and I feel like everybody's so divided. But as far as the local level stuff, we all have a common vision. We all have the same vision for what our community what we want it to look like. And I think that's powerful. It's like, why do we have to be so opposite-sided whenever essentially the vision's the same? We still want the same things for our people and for our community. And as far as, gaining this network in Evansville, You know, I'm super blessed that I was able to come up with an idea that would get me involved to meet all these awesome people. But at the same time, a lot of these people that I know and a lot of these people we work with and, a lot of the people that I know we hardly ever work with, I just consider them great friends. Mm-hmm. They're just good people, and that's why people get attracted to other people is like, hey, this guy cares about not only me, but my team too.
Yeah.
And they care about the future of me and my family.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really powerful as far as like networking and connections is you can really weed out who's not there for the common good of people.
Yeah. What's funny is like, so I went to Nashville last week and I had a meeting with a couple people, but one guy I was talking to about, it's funny, like I had two different viewpoints coming at me. One guy says, I don't see how you're going to make anything happen with where you're located. Like you should be in Nashville. Everybody's in Nashville. That dude is at a different level than the other guy I met with who's operating at a much higher level at a booking agency. And he said, I was like, something I'm struggling with just with my own journey, is coming to grips with being based in Southern Indiana. It's a place that I love. It's a place I call home. Like it's a place that I feel like I have some identity and I have some influence and I can actually do things because there are other people doing what I'm doing, but it's not a fuck ton and it's not super competitive right now. And I can afford to live here and stuff. And he's like, the second guy, he's like, dude, I like that you're not from here. He's like, you're not just another dude from Nashville. Like, yes, of course that has its merit, but like, you not being here, if you don't need to be, if you're finding talent where you're based, and if your talent is blossoming, why would you what do you need to be here for? Like you're gonna buy a $500,000 house to get what you have in Evansville, or not that much, but it's like you're gonna spend a shit ton of money. It's busy as hell here. You gotta park downtown. It costs $25.
Yeah,
it's just a lot to consider. But when I think about Evansville, I think about it is a community of nice people,
it's hard to find, man.
It's big, but it's small. Like starting the podcast, I had this list of people I wanted to interview, and as I keep doing it, it's like the list. This is the 15th episode, but the list keeps growing because I'm like, oh shit, that person's, oh yeah, like that. And I'm always finding out about new people who either live in Evansville or around the area that I had no idea. I'm like, I had no idea that this was going on. I just met an author last week who has a book on Amazon's, it's in the leadership category, but it's like a book in their top seller on Amazon. And I'm like,
really?
What the fuck? You're just hanging out here? You're just existing in Evansville?
Yeah, why here?
Yeah. But I agree. It's of course, there's, you have your struggles with certain aspects of it. It is smaller, but, and there's not a ton of venues between small and large. There's no real medium-sized venues for booking shows, which is an issue, but
yeah. Unless it's like
it on ourselves,
an older, what are they called? Like the old auditoriums and stuff.
Right.
Those are medium size.
Right.
For sure. Like the Victory Theater.
Yeah, well, even the Victory, dude. Whew,
that
sucker's 1,900 seats. I mean,
really?
to go from let's see. So I'm having a show next month at Stage 2, which is a small theater.
I'll be there.
300 seats. That'd be awesome. 300 seats, and the next jump up is in the Civic's not that big. It goes from 300 seat venues to 1,900 seats, or at old national events. I think it's even more than 1,900. And then you go,
big.
And then
they
you
have
go
3 levels.
Yeah, and then you go to the Ford Center, and we're talking, 10,000 seats or some crazy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's finding that. But I know that there are people that are in town talking about how to change that, and it's not going to happen this year, but how to kind of make that middle market available to us, to people who want to put on shows a little bit bigger than small, but no way we could do 2,000 seats, it's just. But
I love the idea of amphitheaters, like the Mesker Amphitheater.
It's just sitting there, rotting
It's just sitting
away,
there,
dude.
man. Like, I understand why we can't use it and it's not structurally fit anymore.
The renovation would be expensive.
Let's do something somewhere. Burdett Park, man. Let's get a nice amphitheater out there.
Yeah. Dude, what's funny is my backyard, the way I'll show you after, well, you just were out there, but the way that it's set up is like my house is actually kind of up on a hill and we have an acre of land and the backyard slopes down into a woods. And I've talked to some buddies about like, obviously this is not big, but like building a stage back there and then coming up the hill, just have like small acoustic shows or like get a sound system and do just like record label hangout nights and invite people to come and bring blankets and we'll grill and like
you could have
plenty of parking out front,
straw bales with some blankets on them.
Exactly. Have a big fire going and have people playing because it's kind of amphitheater-ish. It's funny how the yard slopes to one corner, but dude, I know I used to walk by Mesker every day, like I still do sometimes, but like when we lived on Virginia Street, I'd walk past there and just like.
Just be
dream. Just dream and just think about like, wow, just look at this fucking beautiful bones of this place. But yeah, I understand too. It's a little out of reach from the.
And you were talking about Evansville and like, does it make sense for you to be here whenever there's so much opportunity maybe somewhere else? Yeah. And and I feel we kind of are in similar areas within our companies to where, there's definitely value to going somewhere where there might be more clients.
Yep.
But I also think there's massive value in staying here because I think that the future of music, the future of online internet content, the future of a lot of things is only just going to expand. And then since we've gotten the internet and we've seen how easy it is to make a living off of the internet and share information far and wide, I feel like, the internet really expands our limits.
Yes.
So go ahead and stay in Nashville because, cost of living might be a little higher there and you might not be able to run it for as long as I might be able to hold out over here.
Right, exactly. What's funny is when I lived in Los Angeles before I moved back here, and there was a time where I just had this feeling like I got to go back home. I got to go back home and build something. I don't know what it's going to be. I didn't have Wally Opus. I didn't have the idea for the record label yet. I had nothing except like I need to go back. And I was like long distance dating Chloe, so that was a thing. But then when I first got back, like within the first week, my buddy sent me a book. It was Bruce Springsteen's autobiography, so it's about his life. And then he sent me a podcast on the book where they broke some stuff down. And one of the things that they talked about was how, and this has happened to several people that I know of on that scale, but like at the height of his career, when Born in the USA, I think it was, came out, I want to say he was in LA or in New York City or something, but he left that life and went back to his hometown of Asbury Park in New Jersey and like planted his roots there.
Really?
And so what I thought was, and that was before the fucking internet, by the way, but it gave me this sense of like, like I want to go deeper in the place where I'm from. Yeah. And like, I want the challenge of building something that hasn't been built before there. And I want it to blossom. But sometimes the people's words of caution, they get in my head. People will say, "Why are you here? Like, why? Like, is it really? There's a reason nobody's done it before. It's because it doesn't work here." But I'm like, yeah, but when they did it, did they have the internet? Did they have Spotify? Did they have YouTube?
Exactly.
Did they have like Instagram? Did they have all of these tools that we have now?
I want to know the stats of how many artists are in Evansville today versus how many artists were here 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd like to
who have even like a modicum of success. Because like for example, Atlas of the Dogs, another band I work with, they just put out a TikTok last week. I looked yesterday, I'm like, this almost got 900,000 views. I'm like,
Damn.
fuck. Yeah.
Damn.
Like, nice job, fellas, and they're just around town, It's like, it's cool that people, and it's all like that. It's all one click or one share away from,
Exactly.
everything that you do and I do is exactly, like, it's all got the potential to go viral from right here.
And then like before, your only opportunity was gotten at each show. You didn't get any opportunity unless you were playing at a venue.
Yeah.
And then maybe somebody might be there or record it or something. Now we can share 15 pieces of content a day and reach more people that we would at a show. So essentially, if you could keep up and running and, keep the bills paid for a band, the band would actually technically never need to play a show because they're still reaching more people than they would from a show. Now, obviously, the shows are going to make them better and it's an experience and practice, but...
Right. And and if they like, if they like playing live, if that's their thing, and to something I've noticed about, because now that I'm in the world of some of the bigger shows, I see some of the bigger bands who play a bunch of festivals, and I see that like how their it's funny, like as you grow, the bigger the show, the more people go listen to your music, but then the more people that listen to your music, the bigger the shows that you can get. And it's like this like feedback, like positive feedback loop of growth, to where I'm like, oh, when I see one band who's playing like 7 giant festivals next year, I'm thinking like, dude, their fucking monthly listeners on Spotify are going to grow so much.
That's true.
But then they're going to be able to get bigger festivals the year after.
Exactly.
But it's like this beautiful real world meets digital world, like, and I'm sure that's been going on for fucking a while with CD sales and stuff in the past. But yeah, so, but I think like the local community that we have in Evansville, like when I question it, I think it's valid. It's like, okay, these are real challenges that we face being in Evansville. Like the platforms that, it's small. But when I think about, this is like back to the Bruce Springsteen thing, he said he likes being a big fish in a small pond versus a small fish in a big pond. And that's not for everybody, but when he said that, I really related to that. And I'm like, yes, I like being a part of a community where I am noticed, versus when I lived in LA, I was a fucking pebble on this mountain of rocks. You
throw a rock in LA and you hit a music artist.
Oh my
or an actor,
God, dude. Yes, that is what it feels like for sure. Whereas here, you say, you own a company that does, records or does media. It's like, oh, that's interesting. What versus
kind of
out there.
Or what kind of artists do you do,
Yeah, exactly.
There's room for question, not like, oh, you and everybody else.
Right. Yeah, like, oh, I know that. Yeah. I know what you're about then,
I've been super interested to ask you about your trip recently. Because
which one?
The one that you went on with the group of guys.
Oh, it's like a small retreat.
Yes. Yeah. I've been so interested in doing something like that. And I wanted to know, like, what was it? Like, what was the basis and what was kind of the object, the goal, like I feel like everybody, especially coming out of COVID, everybody's kind of on their own little spiritual journey right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's just trying to figure themselves out, figure life out, figure out how they can be a better person today than they were yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know the basis of the trip that you went on, but I've seen trips similar, and I thought that maybe that was kind of like the same idea, and I thought it was super interesting.
well, you nailed it, because that is what it was about.
I love that.
It was about like, yeah. So one guy in town, Zach Parsons, who I've been building a friendship with since I worked at AZIP Pizza. Funny enough,
Really?
like, I would work at AZIP and he would come in a lot, and we would and it started with this hat that I was wearing, and it was a hat I found in a crate at a thrift shop in Poseyville, of all places, and it said like, "It will be done," which I don't even know. I just fucking like the hat, dude. I don't even know what it was from or whatever, but he saw it and he's like, "What's your hat about?" And I was like, "What do you think it's about?"
Self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm like, it says what it means, whatever. And but that just started a relationship. But then we've worked on several things that haven't really panned out. And then he texted me and said, "I'm thinking about doing a retreat. It's going to be my first one. Would you be interested?" Because we've had a lot of conversations just about meaning and spirituality, not necessarily religion, but self-growth.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck yeah, dude, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Just let me know what you're thinking.
Exactly.
And so it was me, him, and 6 other guys from the community, some business owners, 2 of them were USI professors. One of them was the author. He's a retired Marine.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we went out, which he didn't tell us. He would give us small details as it was happening. So it'd be like, okay, I'll let you know okay, you're in, sounds great. Then 2 weeks later, okay, we're going to meet here at this time. And he told me the weekend so I could clear it. We're going to meet here at this time, I'll let you know what to bring. And then a week later, bring this. Then a week later, okay, we're going to meet at this time, blah, 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 see you there. And so we show up, and we had 2 cabins out at Lincoln State Park, and we split 4 and 4 in each cabin. And it was just like, I had never met any of the guys. So I'd seen some of them around, but never met them. And Zach had this whole plan that unfolded one chapter at a time. And it was all based off of these archetypes that were like, the warrior spirit, the magician, the king, and the lover, and how these are tool sets for our lives. And so it would be like an informational session. We'd watch a video or read something. We would talk about it, and then it would be like, okay, for the next 7 hours, we're doing activities related to this archetype. So,
wow.
Yeah, and it was funny enough, it snowed that weekend.
Yeah.
So we went to bed Friday. Oh, and no cell phones, no electronics.
I love that.
So it was like this ceremonial thing where we all had to make our final call to somebody who comes to your mind. So I called Chloe, and she didn't fucking answer. But but I left her a message, and
Oh my God.
yeah. And then we hung up our phones and put them away. And it was like, we'll turn those back on Sunday. And this was Friday. And then we had an evening of activities, a lot of them out in the dark in the woods, and then come inside, sleep, wake up Sunday, suit up, and we're outside. And it was just like this day of activities related to the warrior, and we swam in the fucking lake.
I saw that.
Freezing last lake.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which I was all down for that. I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Absolutely.
We climbed a tower.
Anybody goes a day without their phone, they start getting irrational thoughts too, Wes.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I know. It was like crazy. I was thinking this, I'm like, this is like one of the longest days of my life, because there's nothing to distract me. There's no TVs, there's no sound. It's just me and because after lunch, we had to fast that morning. We did a bunch of shit. One of the activities.
So you guys fasted each morning?
Well, just for the first day.
Okay.
Yeah, or for the first Saturday.
Like detoxing.
Yes, yep. And no coffee even, no nothing. Wow. We didn't have a fire the first night. It was just all cold. He's like, we're going to save the fire for night 2, like something to look forward to.
I love that.
Yeah. So one of the activities we did was we go on this long hike, and we end up at this circle. It's a brush pile, kind of like brush is built up. There's like small trees, big ass circle. Go around the circle, all 8 of us. And then it was like, then we like Zach gets fired up. He's like, all right, tap into your warrior spirit. And he plays some music. We go in the circle, and I've never done anything like this in my fucking life.
Yeah.
Start walking around the circle. He's like, just go where your spirit leads you. We're in this circle, walking through this brush. He's like, lock eyes with the next man you see as you pass and like stare into his gaze. I'm like, Jesus Christ, okay. Yeah, I just met these guys, by the way, and it's our first morning together. And then he's like, stop in front of the next man you see. So you stop. He's like, stare into his gaze. Feel the intensity of his spirit. Put your hands on his shoulders. Yell in his face, fuck you. And like,
dude, I love this.
So it was like hold the activity was like hold this energy that this person's giving you and give it back to him, like, but not in an it is aggression, but hold him, as he's doing this.
Yeah. Feel the energy.
Feel it. Be with it. Now hug him and like love him. Back to the circle. And we would do this several times. And one of them was like lock arms, like shove each other, like try to like really show each other force.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but that was, so I grew up and I've always been conflict averse. Like if there's people fighting, I don't want anything to do with it. I want to get out of the fucking room, But one thing I went into this weekend working on was like, I want to be able to hold the energy of conflict within myself and not feel like I need to react and get away.
Yeah.
So that activity was really beneficial for that.
Yeah.
So the whole weekend was like that. It was like taking on these different challenges, and that was the warrior.
And stopping your fight or flight mechanism.
Exactly. Being with the moment, the energy.
Being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly. Yes.
Dude, I love this.
Yeah. So we had then all Saturday, like the Saturday, it was funny, we didn't have clocks. So it'd be like, he said, after lunch, he's like, okay, you have until dark to be alone. You can write in your journals, you can go on walks, do what you need to do.
That only gives you like 3 hours right now.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Because we're like, so what time? He's like, just dark, because we don't have any other way to tell. I'm like, okay. So it was nice. Just then I wrote and I went on a long walk by myself and was just out in the woods, and then met back up for dinner. And then in the evening, we did something called holotropic breathing, which I had never done. I've always done breathing exercises the last couple of years, but this was, he said, we're going to lay on our backs and you're going to breathe deeply, like for 45 minutes.
What the hell?
Yeah. And I'm like, I was like, this is not, I don't want to do this. Like I was so resistant to that.
It's a workout.
Yes. I'm like, so we go get 4 mattresses, put them around the campfire, and we partner up and we do these breathing exercises one at a time. So first you go, then your partner. And it was so I've done psychedelics. It was the closest thing after it was over. Like, I guess as it was ending, the closest thing to doing psychedelics that I've ever done without having any drugs in my system at all. All I had in my system that day was a fucking turkey sandwich. So like, you just start to lose yourself when you're breathing that intensely. And at the end of it, like I couldn't hardly move my legs. I was like laughing hysterically. And I was like, I kept saying, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? But
yeah, I mean, I guess you can't really host a retreat and then everybody be like, all right, gather around the fire. We're just going to do a couple hits of DMT real quick.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Discover your inner selves real fast.
Yes, like it was all through doing it naturally. But that is awesome. Then we had dinner and then we all sat around the campfire and I brought my guitar and another guy brought his guitar and we played songs. And like at that moment, they brought out some brandy, some alcohol, and some legal edibles. So we kind of passed those around. Everything was legal.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we woke up Sunday, had more sessions, then had one last meal together, and then that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I've already texted Zach and told him I wanted to go to the next one.
You did?
I did.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. He's that's great because I was just talking to him earlier about the future of his retreats. Because he invited people back, but in years prior, I would be like, yes, I want to be a part of this continually. But for me now, I feel that I got what I needed.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I want to spread the word about what I got, but I have my own journey to go on.
Exactly. Everybody has their own journey.
But I do think that there should be some sort of like community around retreat, whoever goes to the retreat, where like whether that's a network or a gathering of some sort, that like there needs to be some sort of community that forms. Because I do think that there is a call that people feel. Like when you saw it, it's something inside. Because I tell other people about it, they're like, gee, fuck
why would
that.
you do that, Wes? That sounds like a nightmare.
Right. You yelled, fuck you.
I saw that
man,
and I was like, I would love that. I need that. I would appreciate every moment of being uncomfortable in that.
Yes.
You know? And I think it's just all about people's journeys. You know, where are you at in yours? You know?
Agreed.
And now you are past that point. You don't need your initial spark of searching for your spirituality again.
Exactly,
you know?
Dude. Exactly. And that's what I think that it takes. Because like before that, I had wanted to do something like that just based off of seeing other things on the internet or like reading about people doing stuff like that. I always thought that would be so cool, but I don't feel like I have the tools to put that together effectively. But someone like Zach's been to retreats like that, bigger ones, but I think keeping it small is a great way to keep it effective. And like, because he asked us for feedback and I'm like, it's perfect, dude. The only thing I would do is get a louder speaker because he was playing the songs off of his phone. And I'm like,
it's like, of course the recording guy would say that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dude, we need a fucking Bluetooth
Where's the sound system on this?
Yeah. Because I'm like, dude, we need to be like when you're doing that warrior shit, it's like I need to be boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And even when you're doing the deep breathing, we were listening to music that was like tribal. And I was like, I wanted to feel it more, you know. Which after fucking however long of breathing, you become sensitive enough to like feel even just a phone speaker, you know. You're like, ooh, I can really feel that, just the pulse of the beat or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, dude, you got to get a fucking speaker for next year. You got to be blasting that shit so we can really.
If I go to the next one, I'll let you know if they've upgraded.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. But yeah, dude, I think that it's not just us. I think it's like a generational cultural thing where one of the guys there, the Marine, ex-Marine author, was talking about a lack of genuine leaders that our culture faces. It's not, and I feel like it's reflected in our political system. I don't think we all look up to politicians like they're leaders.
No,
you know, and I think it's like the same with like it's just a top-down thing. So I think it's like our generation is sort of waking up to that and like taking it upon ourselves to get stronger and get involved and like whatever that means, you know. But I think it's not just us. I think it's, if me and you feel it,
yes,
other people our age
absolutely
are gonna feel the call, you know, to get that experience. You know?
Well, I mean, like, think about it. We've spent the last, or you know, more or less 2 years of our lives as a people isolated and stuck consuming on our phones.
Yeah.
You know, and after a certain amount of time, that's going to cause some serious impact on the mind. You know, it's going to make everything that is not your phone uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And where is there room to be a leader on your phone? Like, obviously, absolutely, there's room to be a leader on your phone. You can absolutely be a voice.
Yeah.
But will it fulfill you?
Yeah.
And that's what life's all about, is just figuring out what fulfills you.
I mean, dude, think about your business. Like you have employees, you have a team that you work with. And like, I mean, if you never saw them or were with them, I mean, I don't know. I just think creatively, I know that some people would probably hear this and be like, are you kidding me? I work on the internet only and we have a great fucking team, which is valid.
Absolutely.
I don't know, for some people.
I work only on the internet too.
yeah. But it's like for some people, I don't know. I feel like it's, yeah, dude. Probably for everybody. It's just like, we got to have that fucking connection. Because, dude, it's so easy. Like, one thing I was just talking to somebody yesterday about this, I've come to realize after COVID is like, I fucking hate group texts. Unless it's information based and like specific, I hate conversations in group texts because they blow up, at least in my work, line of work sometimes, things blow up, people say shit, and it's like Twitter or it's like yelling into the void. But it's like you don't talk like that to me when we're together.
Yes.
But on the phone, you say this crazy shit, you know?
And then it often gets misinterpreted because you don't pick up tone.
Exactly. So I might think that this person's coming at me, and they're like, no, I was just saying. I was
being silly.
Yeah. And it's like, but I have no other information. I have no other cues. And that shit, yeah, I fucking hate that shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I've tried to start avoiding that. I'm like, we're not going to talk about, like, conversation shit unless it's like we have to.
Yes.
Through a text.
If I need information, like, we got to get this figured out. But, you know, I feel like the human race and the human species we are such a social people, and we need community. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also a big deal of our anxiety is whenever you get notifications on your phone, you feel like you might be letting somebody down because you're not responding.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with, that's why we're so focused on all of our notifications is we just want people to feel validated and we want to be accepted ourselves. So if somebody's not responding to us, we don't feel accepted. If we're not responding to somebody else, we're feeling like we're letting them down. So it's just this constant pool of anxiety that would just be eliminated with a phone call.
Yeah.
Or with just putting your phone down until, you know, you're ready to deal with the situation or have the conversation.
Yep.
So, you know, I definitely think that, especially in a time like this, you know, I've been more focused on trying to create more than I consume.
I like that. Yeah, I think I'm on a similar plane, and I think the way to know if you're off the path is if you're like, well, like this is me last night. So last night, Chloe, I don't know how it. Well, I was trying to get a phone call with the guy. I missed his fucking phone call. Then I'm worried about him calling me back. Chloe just got home. August is like, hey, I need to eat. And, you know, it's like all of this mess. And then finally the guy calls me back. I'm like I got to take this. I just really need to take this call. Yeah.
Yes.
But I was so obsessed with like checking to see what's going on. But yesterday I was kind of bad about consuming. Oh, I got some shit done, but I was just bad about it. I was like kind of lazy. And then at night, we're reading a book to August. We're all laying in bed reading a book to August. And I say at the end of it, God, I wish he would just give us a fucking show already. And Chloe's like, Augie, Daddy's still talking about work. And it's like 8:30. I'm like, it's not that it's just all I can fucking think about. Like, he won't give me an answer, you know? And it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And as I'm saying, I'm like, I know I'm being absurd right now. Like, he can't give me an answer tonight. I'm just obsessed with getting this fucking thing, you know, like getting it done already. Because I've just all day, I'm like instant gratification.
Exactly.
So then it like translates into real life, and it's like
the second it doesn't happen instantly,
get all anxious.
It's the only thing that you think about.
Exactly.
Controls your mind.
Exactly. That's another thing why, you know, the like a weekend away without a phone, the digital detox is so healthy because like I'm pretty sure a huge majority of people don't even have a clue what their relationship with their phone is like, you know,
or what their relationship with themselves is like,
or that too. Yeah. And it's like like they're not aware of where this ends and this begins, you know. It's especially younger, like kids younger than us who, like, I was at a hotel over the weekend and a kid he was like fucking 8, maybe 10.
Yeah.
And he was on his phone watching videos. I'm like, Man, that kid has no clue what. Maybe he does, but probably doesn't have a clue what life that there is life. That life is beyond the phone. Like, this is life.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, yes, that is also part of life, but like, this is.
Well, that's the world. You know, the
Yeah.
internet is the world. That is what is happening in life, but it's not life. You will never actually have. You will probably never actually have conversations or interactions with a lot of these people that you consume all the time.
Yeah. But you
so
think
it's like,
you know, or you think they're part of your community
like,
or something.
let me talk about my friends real quick that have 45 million followers. Like, those aren't your friends.
Yeah.
They don't know your name.
Yeah. Now, some people like Taylor Swift who have 1 billion followers, whatever, they feel like they're your friend.
Yes.
I mean, and that she does a great job being a personality in that sense.
She's popular right now. I don't know what's going on with Ticketmaster or whatever, but she's popular.
Yes,
She's the topic of conversation.
She is. Yeah, dude, it's fucking just, she's just massive, you know? I heard yesterday that like one of the tickets before the site crashed was going for like 14 grand or some crazy
I know somebody that
shit.
bought a ticket for $2,200.
Oh my God.
Why? Like, watch
her new
a
album.
live stream or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I guarantee you probably have at least one bill that could have went towards.
Yes. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like, don't you have shit you gotta buy? Or like,
Yeah.
They probably don't, or they use their parents' money. But like, yeah, dude, I mean, her new album's cool, but I don't know if it's that cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's insane. Like, that's an insane fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
back to the uncomfortable and, you know, the digital world and stuff. Me and my brother were actually talking, and he actually lives in Panama right now. He's lived in Panama for about 6 months.
the country?
No, Panama City Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's down there, and, you know, he's lived in Evansville his whole life. Well, we lived in Lexington for a few years in high school,
Okay.
but you know, this is the first time he's technically lived on a beach for his, you know, like day in and day out. You know,
Yeah.
like, what is that like? You know.
Yeah.
So he says, you know, obviously he's on his own spiritual journey, and he's actually home right now. I was talking to him last night, and his he says he likes to give advice to people, but he always gives the same piece of advice, and it is, why don't you spend 1 hour a day going to the beach and don't bring your phone? Just look out and be with your thoughts, and do it every single day. And they say that usually, you know, he gets a lot of great responses for, like, you know, the first couple days, but then the third day they're like, dude, I'm just bored. I don't like know what to do. And it's like, Joby says, he said, the second you start to get uncomfortable, that's when you're starting to grow as a person.
Yeah.
But people do not let themselves get uncomfortable because it's so easy to just pull that phone out real quick.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, you know what? Something as simple as that, with just an hour a day.
That's why I think I read half of this book one time called The Dip, and it's Seth Godin, I think, but like he talks about, like, when you start doing something, you get this instinct, like, you get this feeling of accomplishment because you've never done it. So you get this feeling like, oh, I'm really making progress. And then it starts to get hard. And then as it gets harder, you're less likely to show up if you don't have, that's why they, you know, consistency beats motivation. Cause it's like, if you're consistent and you keep going through that dip, you're going to keep rising again. You're going to go way higher. But it's getting through that dip of, you know, this sucks, this is hard, I don't want to do it, you know, and like making it through that, then you really start to see the progress. But of course, yeah, dude, I understand. You know, that's why, dude, if anybody goes to Bob's Gym, or like I go to Yoga 101, after the first of the year, that bitch is full. It's hard to find a spot because everybody's new. But right now, easy as hell. Like, my yoga class had 6 people in it this morning. So, like, boom. Yeah, plenty of space. But as soon as the New Year resolutions come around, everybody's
hot yoga just got hotter.
Yes, exactly. Everybody's coming around. Everybody's going to lose weight. But then it gets hard, you know? And you can feel it even when people are on diets. There's one person in my life specifically who goes on diets. It's a older woman, goes on diets sometimes, and I always know because she tells you about it. And then I stop hearing about it, and then I see some bad habits forming back up, and it's like, yeah, I don't know how to fix that shit, but you know, I mean, for me, it's just like this podcast. Consecutively, somebody told me after 10 episodes, most podcasts stop.
Yes, consistency's really hard.
Yeah. So
really
guess what almost happened to me?
You almost stopped
at episode 10. Like literally right at that time, I didn't have any other things booked.
Yeah.
And I was like running low on episodes, and I was like, dude, I'm too busy to do a podcast, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, well, no. You're just falling prey to the trap. I mean, to the dip, you know?
You're just scared that it might be a little difficult this time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not new anymore. So now it's like a thing. But then I just sat down one day. I'm like, go back to the list. I texted you. I texted like 6 other people. I'm like, just start lining up. I just do one a week. Yeah. Line them up week and just book them. So you have to do them.
Yeah.
And then we're back on track, you know?
That's awesome.
And
man.
It's just this for me is like the local business takeover.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not like I don't plan. I mean, it'd be great one day if someone wants to sponsor the show, but like I don't plan on making money off this. But it's a great way to have great conversations.
Meet great people.
Have people, if they have, I mean, some people listen to my podcast and some people will say, like I heard such and such talking about this. You know, it's like a good way for people to get, or it could be a way for people to get their stuff out there, you know, to promote their stuff or whatever. Yeah. So you just never know.
Yeah,
but
and like you've got artists that you can talk to, and you know, like I feel like especially with, you know, the strangers, you know, they have a story to tell.
Yes.
You know, and I think it's powerful. You know,
Absolutely.
It's powerful. You can't tell your story fully in a song or an album.
Right.
You know,
or in a small, like in a short video, you know, like that's one way. Those are ways to tell them. But like with the strangers, I had each one on individually because they always do the amount of, I mean, they haven't done tons, but the interviews they've done, typically they're together. So it's telling their story, but it was like, I want to hear your story and your story and your story and how those came together to form the story, you know? But this gives me a way to do that, you know, and to share it. And like somebody else said, which I feel like this is what you do with Local Business Takeover too. It's like you're documenting, dude. You're just backlogging. You're creating all of this content that if somebody comes along and finds one thing, you have this plethora of content to go back and sift through. Like Joe Rogan does that. You know, like I mean, it's not that they intend to. It's just that is what you're doing.
You know, funny story about that. I've been, you know, obviously everything that we do is generally recorded or pictures or, you know, audio and stuff like that. So I've been doing kind of personal things for a long time now. Like me and Avery, you know, I've been documenting our lives essentially. You know,
really?
Like the very beginning of our relationship and how it's blossomed into everything from, you know, getting engaged to having a baby and, you know, just like moments like that, raw moments, you know. So like, yes, it's weird sometimes to have a camera, you know, and to be recording things, you know, it's very uncomfortable because you don't know where that's going to go. Yeah. But I am so proud of all of this amazing footage we have from, you know, the birth of our child.
Oh my God.
You know, us falling in love for years and, you know, just all these awesome things. You know, you can't get that back.
No, dude, absolutely. That's funny. It's like if you're whoever's in your life, it's like, be careful, you might end up on a video. That's what I used to tell people that about music. I'm like, be careful hanging out with me because sometimes I'm recording the audio and I'm like, you just never know when I'm going to put you in a song, like some background noise or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
But so dude, funny. That stuff that you're creating, that like that backlog of your personal life, I mean, that's going to be like for your daughter, for Coulter growing up, I mean, like she's going to be able to go back and, because like sometimes we go back and look at Chloe's, her parents did a lot of video VHS filming.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents did too.
Yeah. And for me, when I first started, or, you know, this is probably like last year. I don't know when we started watching some of it, but like it filled in so much context for me, for her family and her personal life, and like where they come from, and like how they
understanding
all
the dynamic.
yeah, and what it was and what it is now. And just to see it, it's like, holy shit. Like looking at Chloe, and then as a kid, as a really young kid, then seeing Augie, our son, I'm like, holy shit, there is so much, the way they run, some stuff that is just like so similar. And there's some like I don't have that much content in my own life, which is whatever. I think there's some videos, but it's a lot different. It'll be a lot different for your kids, to be able to go back and see in yourself.
Yeah, and like it's the whole context of upbringing and stuff. That's been. I really get to see that whenever I step in the door at Avery's grandma's house. There's pictures everywhere. Like her house is history. It's history for this family, and it's so meaningful to walk into this house and to like hear all the stories about who Avery was whenever she was little, and it makes me so happy that Coulter is literally Avery.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't change a thing because Coulter is a little freaking spitfire. Yeah. And Avery's the same thing. Yeah. And Avery is absolutely the person that, I want Coulter to be. So I just think it's really cool to be able to see, and that's actually funny because I know for a fact, I watch this, I like watching like mind expanding things, and there's a statistic out there. Don't quote me on the statistic.
That's fine.
Statistic. But I know it's very close. It's like kids and children and, even growing up into adulthood, the amount of influence that they get from their parents is almost non-existent. It's very small. It's like 10% or something like that.
Yeah, nature versus nurture.
Exactly. And social groups make up like 80% of who a person is, their personality, the choices they make, everything like that. So I think it's bonkers to me how Coulter is not even old enough to really even comprehend things. She's 1.5, but yet she is her mother.
Yeah.
And that's
you
crazy.
See stuff. You're like, holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like as a parent, that is what's crazy about watching your child grow up, because our kids at the same age go to the same babysitter. And, which one side note on that, like talking about their social circle.
Yeah.
Like the other girl that they go to babysitter with, Kennedy, she's she's developing a little slower. She was a premature baby, but she does this thing where she scoots. Sometimes Augie scoots.
Dude, Coulter scoots, man.
Really?
She does. I'm telling you.
I know. I'm like,
she did it the other day, and I stopped her. I was like, Coulter, let's stand up. Because I was like, how do you draw the line? Hey, Coulter, that's rude. I know you're 1.5, but that's kind of on the border.
Right.
You know, so it's like, how do you even navigate that as a parent?
But it's funny how they pick that stuff up. And cause lately too, I guess a 1.5 years, Augie starts saying things that, I mean, it's not, but like last night he farted and we were laughing and he goes, Augie, art. And I'm like, what? He said, art. And I'm like, fart? We say it, but I've never said, hey, say this word. He just connected these. I'm like, maybe somebody else told him, or like, maybe he just heard us. But it's like crazy. And just, yeah, dude, I mean, some of the shit that he does, I'm like, holy hell. Like,
Coulter cusses, man.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty... Our language is very colorful in our house.
Yeah, same.
And Coulter, her favorite word right now is shit. So
shit.
That's great. Yeah, she'll say it just repeatedly. Shit, 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 shit. I'm like, Coulter, stop.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's like, I think you don't understand, but yeah, we gotta. Well, all right. So let's get back to this. We gotta wrap this up in a sec, but we should do this again sometime because this was a lot of fun.
This was so much fun,
and I think.
We never get a second to actually like talk to each other.
I know. Because when we are together, like the last time we hung out, I think we were camping or whatever.
There's kids running around, and
we're doing other shit. You taught me how to chop wood, though. That was great.
Yep. I'm more than happy to teach you some more.
Love it. But I'm curious. Going ahead, what's the what's the quick rundown on where you want to take JRL?
So we're seeing a lot of, as far as video production as a whole, obviously that's our bread and butter is video production.
Yeah.
And take it even further, we're not filmmakers by any means. None of us have ever made a film before. So there's a definite disconnect between, us and a lot of other really freaking talented people in our area is, we still focus a lot of things on storytelling.
Yeah.
But we also make it short and sweet and turn it into marketing content. So that's kind of like our bread and butter is we still focus on the story of projects and we still focus on the visuals and the beautiful visuals and, bringing everything together to make a beautiful marketing piece. But that's where our focus is marketing. So kind of the more we develop, obviously we would love to create more of a specialty production type of thing to where we have specialists and drones, Steadicam, stuff like that to where, we can book bigger jobs for bigger production companies in bigger cities. But our main focus and what's going to kind of drive us and kind of keep the doors open is our retainer program. And it's essentially a program that we've put in place that gives our clients the opportunity for us to just create whatever they want, anytime they want, nonstop.
Gotcha.
So, that comes with content edit. And whenever I say content, content is social media marketing material, anything you would post on social media. So, logo graphics, infographics,
new product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Commercial photography, podcasts, chopping podcasts up to make smaller pieces of content. That's kind of our bread and butter is we repurpose content and we do a beautiful job about shooting it and, having all of the...
You guys do, man.
Thank you. And having all the, the upper premium qualities in a content piece, but we repurpose the hell out of it to where it's marketing material continuously. And that's been really found really important for a lot of the companies that we do things for because they have taken their businesses and stopped focusing on local sales. They have started moving their companies to focus on to where they can offer services and products to people nationally. Mm-hmm. And that's been a big game changer for a lot of our clients. So with this retainer program, essentially it gives our clients immediate access to a media company to where we will create nonstop. So that's kind of
a little bit of a partnership.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, we are team members now. Now we work with your company and you can, we talk to them nonstop and we're there weekly and essentially it becomes like we're part of the team.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So, we want to be able to offer that, further than Evansville. And what that looks like is, still going on with the JRL Local and keeping it local is we want to find local creators in different areas to work for local clients. And they just send back raw footage to us.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What's funny is like JRL Local, like, okay, yes, you're based locally and yes, you work with local people, but the intention is to grow beyond. That's the same thing I'm doing. Yeah. Like, I was just sending an email earlier. I'm like, the whole point of this is to discover, nurture, and send out, get bigger. Grow.
You don't want the strangers to be with you forever. You want them to move on to bigger and better things, but you just want to.
I want to find, nurture, and launch. That's the whole point. And
that's like
awesome.
Our biggest clients in Naples, Florida.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So like, the more we work, the more we understand that this is essentially a remote service that we're offering. It's just turning into more of an agency.
Okay.
Which just deals with more of managing people rather than things.
Yep.
So that's a whole different ball game in itself.
Yep. We'll talk about that next time.
Exactly.
A little bit more. But I got to say this too. There was one, I love when you guys do the before or like what it looks like in the room and then what it looks like to the camera. Because like you've done some of those where I'm literally blown away. Like there was one, I think I've told you this before, but like I think it was a can, a soda or beer. I don't even know what it was.
It was a mirrored brew.
Okay, yes. Yeah. So it was locally brewed beer. But it was like the before, it just looks like people standing around a can. Then you look at the after, it's like that. It's like a fucking Pepsi commercial. You know, it's like the high definition slow-mo of the water droplets and stuff. It's like, holy shit, that is badass.
Yeah.
So you guys have some great shit.
Thank you.
So, okay, I have one segment. It's called Don't Think, Just Act.
Okay.
I'm going to rifle off 10 terms, names, ideas. You just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Here we go.
Bro.
Here we go. Culture wall.
Oh, my daughter.
That's right. Yeah, Culture Wall is not his daughter, but
my daughter's named Coulter.
That's right.
And Culture Wall, we love Culture Wall.
Heck yeah. Yeah, you turned me on to him, which I didn't know. He's younger than me.
24, man.
Yeah,
he sounds like Johnny
dude.
Cash. It's unbelievable.
Like when I first heard him, I thought he was an old guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Community.
Oh, local.
Quality versus quantity.
Oh, value.
Cool. Favorite project you've worked on?
Oh, dude, that's such a tough one. I'd have to
Or
say
what's a highlight?
most recently would be Jackson, Tennessee, when we pretty much brought forklifts carrying all these $30,000 tables all over this 600-acre farm. The person who owned the farm was number 3 at FedEx. It was insane. Yeah. So much fun.
That's cool. And the tables are like these, like the stone?
Yes.
Okay.
Concrete.
Unbelievable. What do they do with the tables? Eat on them?
Yeah, they're outdoor tables,
Okay.
so like they'll be, as big as 25 feet long.
Oh my
and they'll weigh thousands of pounds.
Being a father.
Oh, the greatest thing in the world.
Sweet. Who is a person that you look up to?
Oh man, I always say it's community members. I don't look up to people who are out of reach from me, who I can't just go to and talk to, but it's definitely community leaders. Someone in particular, Sean King. I've got a massive respect for Sean King. He's the owner of Mr. Fence.
Okay.
His big saying is take care of your team plus one, and he's a big believer in team members and not employees, and I think that's really important.
Love it. I'd like to meet him sometime.
Absolutely.
I think I know who you're talking about now that you said Mr. Fence. He's literally Mr. Fence.
Yep.
Okay, headed to a shoot, which I know nothing about this topic, by the way, so I'm relying on you. Hopefully you know an answer. Headed to a shoot, you get one camera. What's your camera of choice?
Does it have to be a camera I own?
No.
It could be anything?
Yeah.
Man, either a Red Raptor or an RE Alexa Mini, maybe. I don't even know. Like, there's so
Sweet.
many options.
This is for all the camera folks out there because I know what a Red is.
Yes.
I've seen a Red, but I don't. Okay, most memorable moment on a shoot.
Oh, my brother almost died.
Oh shit! What happened?
He choked on a piece of steak.
Oh,
Actually, funny story. We were at Mel's Diner and we were filming this whole commercial, right?
Okay.
So everybody who was there, besides my brother and his wife, everybody was family, friends, and stuff of the owners. And then my brother and his wife were our actors. So they were bringing all of like the most delicious food out to their table, and we were filming it as it kind of went out, type of thing. Nice steam rolling off, beautiful lighting, them laughing at each other. You don't want to take people who are not involved directly with the shoot and then ask them to do things because you don't know how it's going to go. You need people there to be comfortable with sitting there for a long time and maybe even taking their food back out of their mouth to put it back in. Just silly things. So they brought this massive tomahawk steak out to him, and I don't know what was in his mind, but he started cutting this and took this massive bite, and he just swallowed it for some reason. So he started choking, right? And then everybody around him thought that he was like acting. So if you can imagine, everybody's like, wow, he's really good.
Yeah. Holy shit, that really looks like he's choking.
Yeah, like he's got like snot coming out of his,
Yeah.
And what happened was Jake, our other guy, he ended up throwing down his camera real quick, running over to my brother, giving him the Heimlich. until he spit back up his food.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's crazy.
That's memorable.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Dream gig or dream client. I don't know. Something like that.
Oh, that'd be anybody with over 2,500 team members. Like a Target or a big restaurant.
Hey, Toyota's kind of local.
See, Toyota be going.
But
Crumbled
what the
Cookie. We love doing product
shit.
stuff, studio stuff. It's really fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Last one. Dead or alive, someone you'd love to hang out with for an evening.
Ooh, that's so tough.
Famous, family, it doesn't even matter. Who comes to mind?
Hang out for an evening. Oh, man. That's a tough one, Wes.
Yeah.
That is a tough one.
Who's someone you always wanted to meet?
I always had this growing up. I feel like film growing up was a little bit more immersive than what it is today. Today, you'll watch a film and you'd be like, wow, that was beautifully shot. And 10 years ago, you'd watch a film and you'd be like, I didn't even realize I was watching a movie.
Yeah.
I thought I was watching people, So whenever I was growing up, whenever I was growing up, there was a couple movies that I really liked. And one of them was like, I totally forget the name of the movie, but it was like Jesse James, American Outlaw or whatever.
Okay.
It was played by Colin Farrell.
Okay.
So I've always had this real fascination with like mobsters and outlaws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be like really cool to be in a room with like Al Capone or
the real deal.
Yeah, like Jesse James, just kind of like feel how eerie it is. I think that'd be cool.
All right, dude. That is not a room I would particularly want to be in, but I'm glad that you would want to go there because you could tell me how it was.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so wrapping this up, where can people find you? Like if they want to learn more about you or just see what you're up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow us anywhere at JRLLocal.com. I guess that's our website. But if you type in JRL Local anywhere on Instagram, Facebook, you'll find us as well. And you can follow us through that, or you can find my personal page at, you can find me on Facebook at Jorren Royce Locher or Instagram at Jorren R.
Love it.
And I don't post content myself, so you're probably best jumping over to JRL.
Yeah, which you're there a lot. Well, dude, thank you for doing this, man. Yeah, I every time we do have a deep conversation or a long conversation, I always learn shit. I love your energy, so thank you for coming by, giving me some time. There was a lot of shit we didn't even cover, so we'll have to do it again down the road. Maybe next time we could do a guest slot over at your studio, which just got finished.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember stepping in your garage when you had just bought the house, and you're like, "This is where the studio is going to go." And it was bare bones. There was nothing in there.
And you're like, dude, I don't really see it.
Yeah. Like, great empty space. A lot of potential in here, kind of like coming down to my studio for the first time. But yeah, thank you for doing this. Best luck moving forward here with the rest of the year and then taking on 2023.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back next week with another show.
That was my first podcast.